Welcome to our two-part video series on environmental actions in the Middle East and North Africa region. Today, on behalf of Genervision House, I am honored to invite my friend Mohammad Asfour, who is the board member of the Jordan Trail Association, to share his experiences and insights in converting the Jordan Trail into ecotourism. Mohammad is also an explorer, disruptor, and a green global citizen who is passionate about nature and photography. So to give a bit of the background context, the Jordan Trail is a long-distance hiking trail in Jordan that requires 40 days of hiking over more than 675 kilometers of trail. So what is special about the Jordan Trail?
I think the special thing about the Jordan Trail is how it changed the way we look towards tourism, because we've been able to incorporate local communities in the experience. We've been able to highlight archaeological, natural, and different aspects that need to be preserved into the product that we developed through launching the Jordan Trail.
Thank you. And how did you come up with the idea of ecotourism in the Jordan Trail?
Okay, so I'll first maybe tell you how I got involved. Now, from experience, I've been involved in economic development, in developing strategies, and in setting up associations. So a group of people who came up with the idea of having this trail came to me and asked if they could, or if I could, develop a business plan and strategy for the trail. And when we looked into international experiences in this regard, we found that ecotourism is a very important aspect of any trail of this sort. Ecotourism, adventure tourism, different experiences that could be provided along this 650-kilometer trail.
What are the factors needed to make ecotourism happen?
Okay, so as with everything significant, I think collaboration between different parties is extremely important. So on the government side, it needs to ensure that the right policies, laws, and regulations are there to support this type of tourism. In terms of local communities, there need to be the set of skills that ensure that tourists are served in the best possible manner. We need to have guides who are knowledgeable of nature, of the environment, of first aid, of so many different skills that would enable them to guide tourists within this trail. We also need to have some sort of technology infrastructure. So having, for example, the trail as an app on your mobile phone to ensure that you know where to go if you decide to go on your own. Of course, we always encourage people to use local guides, not because they can't do otherwise, but because part of the experience is learning about local customs and habits and ways of thinking. So it's very important, again, for local communities to know how to communicate with tourists and to develop these skills that will enable them to provide the service to the best level possible.
Are there any trainings or guidelines for the stakeholders in the Jordan Trail to be able to make use of the nature and the business in its full capacity?
Totally, and it's on different levels. So in terms of local communities, we train them on homestays, for example, how to manage dealing with people who come and decide that they want to stay in your village, for example. How do you serve them? How do you ensure that you have everything in place? Then hospitality, etc. Then there's also a set of skills that guides themselves need to know about in areas where the hike involves mountaineering, for example. How do they deal with the situation? If somebody's injured, what can be done. So there is so much that needs to be, that people need to train on in order to ensure that this trail is interesting and secure for those who decide to take a hike.
Thank you. As I know you are a keen adventurer and a passionate environmental protectionist, what are some of the interesting stories from your previous adventures along the Jordan Trail that you could share with us?
Yes. So now the Jordan Trail starts from the north and goes to the south. I've had experiences not only on the trail itself, but on areas surrounding the trail. And being an explorer, I'm always looking for something new. So one of the very nice experiences that I've been through is discovering a cave in the southern part of Jordan. So we hiked for a few hours in some very tough terrain, mountainous region, eventually to reach an opening in the mountain, which was maybe half a meter wide. So we went in and suddenly we saw these columns. We walked further and the chambers became larger and larger. Now, this was a Roman copper mine.
Oh, wow.
And not many people know about. And one of the stories we heard is that, which is very sad, is that Romans used to use prisoners to excavate copper in that area. And when I asked why some of the chambers weren't really high, you had to bend in order to go through, they said that they chopped the legs of the prisoners who had to carve in the stone in order to excavate the copper available. So although a lot of Jordan has been excavated today, I still feel that there are some occasions where something new comes up or something new is discovered. So these types of stories is what keeps me interested in exploring more and more, although I know that there is less and less to explore nowadays with the increase in human population, with the increase of roads and tracks and what have you. But there's always something new to see. And another thing that is beautiful is when you go and explore wildlife and sometimes discover that a species that you did not know existed was there. Like sometimes I'll take a photo of a bird and then an expert would tell me, oh, wow, this is something that has not been documented well in Jordan or so on. So there are always stories that could come out from hiking this very interesting part of the country. And another beautiful thing is that you'll pass through different climatic zones, you'll pass through different natural zones, different habitats, which adds a flavor of excitement and adventure to the experience.
So what is the future trend of ecotourism?
Yes, now I think during the post-COVID era, people would less and less want to be staying in closed hotels, and alternatively, they will seek other experiences. And I think this is why ecotourism will become even more important, because a lot of the activities will occur in open air, where the risk of getting sick would be less, and the opportunity to do activities that impact your health positively increases, like walking, hiking, climbing, etc. So I think the future of ecotourism will increase, and I hope and I believe that by increasing the importance of ecotourism, a lot of the local communities that are responsible for protecting our natural heritage will benefit, and thus they will be better guardians of the natural landscape within which they prosper.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the areas that I have been always interested in is how do we bring nature back into the city? How could we be living in a 21st century city, but still maintain a connection with the environment? And I think this is possible through a lot of planning. So we really need to look into the spaces we have and see what can be done in order to ensure that biodiversity is back. So one of the examples for this is green roofs, it's green walls, it's you in your veranda, for example, having plants that possibly are irrigated through moisture that comes from your AC system, for example, and live on the compost that you produce from the food you consume. Mm-hmm. So there's so much we could do in order to bring biodiversity back into the city and ensure that we live healthy lives that are close to nature. Now, it's proven scientifically that one of the ways to achieve high levels of positivity and thus become more productive in our lives and live a healthier lives is through being in nature. So if we are able to bring nature back to the city, then the impacts of that could really be useful to our lives, even within a city context.
Thank you, Mohammad, today for joining the discussion about environmental actions in the Middle East and North Africa region. And if you want to learn more about Mohammad's work, please visit the World Green Building Council's website. And if you want to hear more interesting stories, we will also be sharing it on Genervision House Facebook page. Thank you.